Howdy, this is Sailor the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man, coming to you once again from the island of Puerto Rico. I hope you guys are going to have a great day. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Not literally ammunition, spiritual, I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm having a great day so far. Like I said, I was excited yesterday. I'm here with my Rossi straight, and got some vanilla, Virginia Cavendish Valley Pack. Got my Irish Ancestors cat from Court. I'm sitting here, and guess what I got in front of me? Dunes. Yes, sir. Today's my first day. I kind of started going through it. I got online. Listen, on YouTube, you put in Dune's movie, you could actually watch for free the TV miniseries of Dune. If you never checked out Dune, never read a book of Dune, you can watch the movie series or parts of it, and then go get yourself a nice for $20. 3 books for $20 on Amazon. Can't go wrong. It's wonderful. It covers everything from environmentalism to hero worship to ecology and other things that we're currently dealing with. And unbelievably, this talks about the resources of the earth. But I'm going to read portions of this. Okay? In the back, you have the afterword. I read this novel when I was in 8th grade or 9th grade. I read Children of Dune. I had no idea. I wasn't another sci-fi person. And I decided for a book report, I had to read something. So the librarian pointed me, "Is it popular section right there, sci-fi?" I mean, I'm not into sci-fi. At that time, I saw a picture called 2001 Space Odyssey, and it became kind of interesting. I began hearing the works of Arthur C. Clarke and stuff that was like in 1984 dealing with conspiracies, and I was always big into conspiracies. I wonder why I was never trusting of governments or people. I don't know why, but that's the way I was back then. And now I know why, but I didn't know then. I woke up I was awakened very early to what was going around me and the lies that were being said and the reason why we were in the Vietnam War and all this stuff was happening around me. And so it was in that context that I began reading the Children of Dune. But I want to read some excerpts here and there from time to time. Next Saturday, probably I'll do the same thing. And if you really guys want me to read some excerpts, I'll do that some more. Here you go. In 1969, Frank Herbert published the first sequel, Dune Messiah, in which he warned about the dangers of following a charismatic leader and showed the dark side of Paul Atreides. Paul Atreides, the antagonist, and he's supposed to be the Messiah. And everybody's waiting for a Messiah, for someone to come along. Paul happened to be very charismatic, good looking. And he had a base that was already prepared for his coming out. And The fact that it was real charismatic, was very popular. The people wanted him. Other people got on board the bandwagon. Sounds familiar? Let me go. In 1969, Frank Herbert published the first sequel, Dune Messiah. This is Dune. Dune Messiah was the second one, in which he warned about the dangers following a charismatic leader and showed the dark side of Paul Atreides. This is showed the nice side, that showed the dark side. The changes that were taking place in his personal life. Many fans didn't understand this message because they didn't want to see their superhero brought down from his pedestal. Still, the book sold well, and so did his predecessor. Looking back at Dune, it is clear that laid the seeds of the troublesome direction he intended to take with his hero. But a lot of readers didn't want to see it. John W. Campbell, the editor of Analog, who made many useful suggestions when Dune was being serialized, did not like Dune Messiah because of this Paul Atreides issue. Paul Atreides was going to be like an anti-hero. Having studied politics carefully, my father believed that heroes make mistakes. This is the author. That was his view. Heroes make mistakes. He says, having studied politics carefully, my father believed that heroes made mistakes. Mistakes that were amplified by the number of people who follow such leaders slavishly. Sometimes you as a leader could have good intentions and make a mistake, but because you have such a large following, everyone has a different opinion. In the large crowds of people, you can have some that are radical, you can have some that are mainstream, and some that are left. Have different opinions. And the ones that are very fanatical, very literal, they'll take everything you say literally. So when you say something like, let's go to Washington, let's go to the Capitol Hill, they interpret that as let's take over the Capitol Hill. Get my drift? So even though you can have a great charismatic leader, people that want, they can make mistakes in whatever they say. It can be misinterpreted. Just saying. Having studied politics carefully, my father believed that heroes made mistakes that were amplified by the number of people who follow such leaders. In a foreshadowing epigraph, Frank Herbert wrote in Dune, remember, we speak now of Muad'Dib, who ordered battle drums made from his enemy's skin. Muad'Dib, who denied the conventions of his ducal past with a wave of the hand, saying merely, I am Kwisatz Haderach, this is reason enough. And in a dramatic scene, as Lenkind lay dying in the desert, he remembered the long ago words of his own father. No more terrible disaster could befall your people than for them to fall into the hands of the hero. By the early 1970s, sales of Dune began to accelerate, largely because the novel was heard as an environmental handbook warning about the dangers of destroying the Earth's finite resources. Frank Herbert spoke to more than 30,000 people at the first Earth Day in Philadelphia. I was there. He toured the country, speaking to enthusiastic college audiences. The environmental movement was sweeping the nation. That rode the crest of wave, a breathtaking trip. when he published Children of Dune in 1976. My graduation there. It became a runaway bestseller, hitting every important list in the country. Children of Dune was the first science fiction novel to become a New York Times bestseller in both hardcover and paperback. Sales reached into millions. After that, other science fiction writers began to have their own bestsellers. But Frank Herbert was the first to obtain such a high level of readership. He brought science fiction out of the ghetto of literature. By 1979, Dune itself had sold more than 10 million copies, and sales kept climbing. In early 1985, shortly after David Lynch's movie Dune was released, the paperback version of the novel reached #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. So Dunes and the series that came afterwards, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune. Three of the greatest sci-fi um, sci-fi novels. Not only is it great read, but once you get into it, if you're a sci-fi fan, you're not gonna want to put the book down. It talks about a lot of things. It talks about the spice which runs the universe, much like oil runs the world. And Dunes was the place, the planet Iraq was the place where the spice was grown. And there was always a battle for spice. Who controlled the spice? Who's going to sell the spice? It was awfully needed. Much like drugs. So here today, since the 1800s, we've fought over oil. During the Industrial Revolution, when everything turned to machineries needed oil. You had the Anglo Oil Company that went into Iran, Iraq, and the British Empire was involved in that. If you go and you study World War One, the basic premise of World War One is whoever had control of the oil will ultimately win that particular war, and it so happens the U.S. It was a stalemate until the U.S. got involved. U.S. had the most oil. U.S. had the most resources. And they helped win the war, bring Germany down. So you see, a lot of things that Frank talks about is certain things he saw in the future coming. Like, for example, these people on the planet Arrakis, they were called freemen. They were desert dwellers. So for them, water was just as important as oil. It's important as oil. And so they grew accustomed to their environment, learned to use their environment ecologically. And we see that today. Some of the best ecologists are Arabs. Yet you and I don't know that because we're not into ecology. But if you're into ecology, you're going to realize that it is very important for sustaining this world. What is oil doing to the ocean? What is drilling for oil in the ocean? What is it doing to the Earth's crust? That's all part of ecology. What is it doing to our fishery? What is it doing to our shrimps, lobsters? The dumping of chemicals in the water. That's that's all part of it. My eyes were awakened in the college. I was aboard a ship. We were halfway across the Pacific, heading to Fremantle, Western Australia. I happened to be in the fantail talking to a radio man down in down in the back. He had the radio watch in the app where the rotary blades and it was an open area on this LPH. So I'm there talking to him, and the lamp was lit, so I was smoking my pipe. And here comes these guys, huge tons of, like, I don't know if it was gas, water. I said, "What you guys are doing?" "Well, we're told to dump this over the side." I said, "What is that?" "The chemicals from the boiler engine room, toxic chemicals." And so we had to get out the way for them to dump that stuff. Everything, barrel and everything, went into the water. I said, "Are you crazy?" It just has been done forever. Dumping chemicals into the water. I couldn't believe it. I was horrified. Oh my God. It was just being dumped there out in the middle of nowhere, the oceans. It's just, how long has the Navy been doing that? How long have we been damaging the earth? Taking oil, using coal. So Frank has a way of putting that issue in the novel using the Iraqis. So they had to actually, these Freemans living under, actually to keep water, they had these still suits. And so being out there, their perspirations would be used, and they purified the sweat and separate the toxic products so they can drink from their own bodies. But his body was discharging. It was amazing. He thought about that back in the 60s. The possibility that one day humans are going to have to wear this suit in which we have to save our perspiration. If you go to LA, LA County doesn't have drinking water. Really doesn't. You guys that live out in LA know what I'm talking about. They not drinking water, so what do? They purify ocean water and some other stuff I'm not even gonna say. But they told me about it, but I don't have first-hand knowledge of what kind of drinking water those people drinking over there. So the novel talks about ecology. We gotta talk about ecology too as pipe smokers. You know, what are they doing to tobacco? All the chemicals and fertilizers. I mean, can we make tobacco without having used fertilizers? And I don't know. I don't know that much. So this is bringing me back to that time in my life where I was very much into ecology, and I was very conscious of polluting. I used to watch those Smokey the Bear commercial. Only you can prevent forest fire, and other commercials about saving our national parks. He used to have a commercial where Indian is crying because somebody threw trash in the rivers. So his novels came around that time, covered the fact of ecology, covered the fact of people wanting a messiah, one world ruler to control the ecology, to control the food resources, to control the water resources, to control oil. In the novel, it's not oil, it's spice. He that controls spice, he that controls spice controls the universe. But we know he that controls oil is has gained great power here on earth. So there's a lot to it. There's so much. There's layers and layers and layers of different things that he talk about. That's why he's considered one of the geniuses. Orwell talks about in Animal House in 1984 some stuff that Big Brother. I mean, come on, we see it, right? A lot of these, and I think they were giving insight as to the future. These guys were heavy pipe smokers and thinkers. Gerard, C.S. Lewis, all pipe smokers. Howard was a pipe smoker too. So that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to hear more about it, let me know. I'll continue talking about Dunes and the author, the main character, the anti-hero, the ecology. If not, I'm moving to something else. So this is Say to the Piper Man, Piper the Sailor Man. You have a wonderful day and smoke up, guys.